Hey everyone, and welcome to this overview video for BPainter 2.0. And in this video I would like to show you the new features for BPainter. As some of you may know, Blender 2.81 has been released, and I'm happy to say that BPainter will work in Blender 2.81. I know that many of you are waiting for BPainter, and I'm happy that the port is done now and you can use it in Blender 2.81. So let's get started here. First of all, if you start Blender, you can activate BPainter as usually in the add-ons, install it, and under BPainter you can activate it. Now BPainter is now located in the N panel, so if you press N and open it here in the BPainter tab, you can activate BPainter or access BPainter. You will notice that we have some tool icons here. So we can change into paint mode directly or change the shading mode. So if you want to start painting in BPainter, you have to create a material at start. So we will do this now. And now you see that not much has changed. So first of all, we will refresh this material here. So this will set up a few things in the background. Just refresh it and now we're good to go. So if you want to start painting in BPainter, you need to create a channel. So what is a channel? Basically, a channel is a container for layers. So like layers in Photoshop or Krita, this is the same here in BPainter. So if you want to work with layers, you need to create a channel. And this is done by pressing this plus icon. We can now see that it has a name diffuse channel, and we can set in which node input it will be directed. So if you say base color, it will be put into the base color. So now let's create this channel, and you see that we have a new group here and it is directly linked to the base color. We can change this at any point in time, so just press this icon here and this will pop up this overview here. We can feed the channel into multiple inputs. So let's say we want to put it into the roughness channel, like so. Now we can set the slider here and we can remove it like we want, and we can put it into any input here as we want. We can change the background color of our paint channel. So this is basically like you know it from Photoshop or Krita or any other painting application. So let's say we want white as base color and say OK. So now we will create now we have the channel. So the channel is the container, and now we will create a new layer. So let's create a simple paint layer. And if you want to start painting now, we just press this icon here and we're good to go. So just select the color and now you can just start painting the same as you know it from the Blender 2.79 times. So here we have the layer stack. We can disable the layer. We can set the blend method like we want. We can set the opacity. So this is all the same as we know it from BPainter 1. We also know the brushes that we have here. We have a different set of brushes. All brushes are stored across Blender. So if you open a new blend file, all brushes will be in that blend file. So this is the cool feature in BPainter. You can have any brush that you create here in all other blend files too. So this is saved on the local hard drive and will be loaded automatically. So if you want to create a new brush, you just press this little cog icon here, and this will save you, let you save the brush settings, create a new brush, delete a brush, restore brush defaults. So you can easily create variations of this brush. You can change the icon here at the bottom and change all sorts of settings here. So this is the brush. You can change the brush with the F key, the size. So let's take the simple one. So with the F key you can change the size. With the Shift F key you can say change the opacity. And in BPainter you have a third option. So this is a BPainter specific option. With Alt F you can change the hardness of a brush. So this has the same look and feel as the other methods. So you can change the brush hardness. So that way it's harder and that way it's softer. So basically this operator just changes the curve here. So if you change it to hard, the curve will look like so. And if you make it softer, it looks like that. So that's pretty cool. Another feature for the brush for brushes in BPainter is the color picker. So the color picker usually just samples the color you see in the viewport. But in BPainter, if you access the color picker, it will set everything to shadeless, and then you can pick the real color you see. So that's pretty cool. If you want to create gradients, you just pick the color from the viewport, and you have the exact same color you would like. So this is the BPainter color picker. In the color settings, you can change any color. You have this color palette here. You can swap the colors here. You can change the colors to black and white. You also have this extra menu here, or this advanced menu, where you can save a custom palette or restore the palette defaults. You also have the brush texture, so you can apply any texture here to your brushes. The cool thing is you can open the brush texture and just throw in a few new brushes or textures here, and those textures can be accessed in BPainter directly. So you just select the folder here and select the texture you would like to use. The same is for stencils, so you can add stencils here and just draw like you want. Okay, so this is the basic behavior you know from BPainter. But in this video I would like to show you some really cool new features for Blender 2.80. So as all of you know, Blender has the new render engine Eevee, and it has an awesome real-time rendering capabilities. And with the new PBR workflow we have in Blender, BPainter has to make use of this, of course. So in this scenario I want to show you how you can texture your model without painting. So yeah, let's get started with this here. First of all, we will delete this layer. We don't need it at the moment, and we will create a new one. But in this case, we don't want to use a paint layer. We want to load a layer from the library. So we will open this, go to our folder, and here we have two textures. And I would like to take the rock texture here. So let's say import. And now you can see we have imported this texture, and it is mapped to the UV settings. As you can see, the seams here. Now we can change the mapping very easily. So from UV to box mapping. By control pressing this icon here, you can bring up this extra menu. So usually you cannot access this, but by control clicking on this icon, you will open this option here, and you can change it to box map. And you can change the projection blend here directly. So as you can see here, if we set it up, the seams disappear directly. We can change the scale like we want. We can change the rotation to our likings and the location. So that's pretty cool already. So we have a first basic texture. Now let's get a new texture. Now let's take this moss texture here. So we can set it directly from here to box map and set the seam value to something. Okay, now we have this moss texture, great. Well, not so great, because we would like to blend this together somehow. Of course we can create a paint mask. Let's make it like that. We select it now, and now we can just paint in our moss texture. So like you know it. But there's another way, and this is something really cool in BPainter 2.81. or in Blender 2.81 and BPainter 2. Let's delete this mask here for now. And I would like to introduce you to the map generator in BPainter. So if you change to the render settings here, we have this map generator, and we will create a new map. Let's call it curvature. And it's an internal texture, and it is a BPainter curvature. So we will select this object as our target object. We will select the UV map, and then the resolution is okay. Just press generate all maps. So it's done now. And what we will do now, we will create a new mask and choose from existing, and we will select the curvature here. So let me have a look. Now the curvature is not appearing right now. Okay, now it is here. It's still a bug which I will need to take care of. So we will select this curvature texture here, press OK, and now we will control click on this icon here. So we will have some extra options here. And the cool thing is now we can change this mask from black and white mask to alpha mask, but in this case it is a black and white mask. And now we have this color ramp here. So with this color ramp, we can set the range where we want this curvature to appear, or this texture to appear. So we can make it like that, or just swap it and create some cool effects here. So that's pretty cool already. Now let's try to make it even cooler. We will create a new texture and create from existing. So we have this moss here again. And in this case, we will also make it as box mapping. Okay. And create a new mask. But in this time we will choose the rock texture here. So we will control press on the mask here, and also just set the values here to something closer together, so it will be a little bit more close to each other, or a little bit harder here, like that. So that's pretty cool. The map generator can also create other textures, like let's say we will want to have an ambient occlusion texture, so let's call it AO. And just choose the BPainter ambient occlusion here. Select the target object, the UV. The cool thing is the map generator can also bake from source objects. So if you have a high poly model and you want to bake a curvature from a high poly model to a low poly model, you just can select the source objects and your target object, and then bake those from your high poly model to your low poly model down. Okay, let's create the curvature here. This takes a little while because it uses cycles in the background. Okay, now it's done. Let's create a new texture from, we will create from existing, and now we will take this AO. And now you see the cool blend options here in Blender. Now we have this AO texture here, and we will set it to multiply. So in this case, we have a multiplied ambient occlusion. Okay, now I was talking about PBR workflow. So how can we use a PBR workflow here in Blender? Currently we have only this one channel which feeds into the base color. What we will do now is we will create a new channel. Let's call it roughness. Okay, this roughness channel, we will connect it to our roughness. So like so. Okay. And you see nothing happens. The cool thing, what we can do now is we will create a new paint channel, or a new layer here. And the layer will be of type paint channel. So this is similar to smart objects in Photoshop. So you see we have this diffuse channel, and we now can put this whole diffuse channel as one layer into our new roughness channel here. So we will select this one and press OK. And if you want to preview this one particular paint channel, we can press this little icon here, and this will show the texture unshaded. So in this case, we now exactly know how this channel looks like. Now let's add some cool adjustment layer here. So we have this adjustment layer here, and just select the hue, press Ctrl click, and remove the saturation. Now let's go a step further, create a color curve or RGB curve, Ctrl click, and just put it more to a neutral gray here. And now we will just bump this up here, so like that. And now you can see it takes our diffuse channel and applies this modifiers here, or this adjustment layer, and that way we can create PBR material with this material as starting point. So if we change now to this material here, so we can press on this icon here, and this will bring us directly into the paint into the diffuse channel, and with this icon we can jump back. So let's say we will create a new layer here, and now paint something on our Suzanne. Now let's jump back and preview this here. You see this will reflect directly into our texture here. But we can make this even cooler. So, okay. I will go into here and remove this one for now. Now let's change the shading a little bit here. So with this icon we can change the shading, and I would say this looks pretty cool already. Now I would like to show you something else. So let's say we want to apply some paint here on our character. So let's create a new layer. We will change to the diffuse channel, create a new layer, and call it paint. So in this material we would like to apply paint to our rock. Just make the brush a little harder with our Alt F key, so like that. And we would like to affect the roughness channel with this layer here. So we will change back into our roughness, and now let's create a new paint layer. Make it the size of 1, for example. And now let's fill the color with the gray here, with this gray, for example. So now we see everything is pretty shiny because it just has one color. Now we will add a mask to this layer here. Let's call it paint, and we will apply a new mask, and we will just select our paint layer here. Now, if we Control press on the mask here, we will bring up this pop-up here and change from black and white mask to alpha mask. And the cool thing is now this paint, or this roughness, will only apply to this mask here. Now, if we change back to our material in the diffuse channel, so we would select the diffuse channel, go into paint, just select another color. Oh, sorry, I wanted to use the paint brush, the normal brush. So if you apply some color here, you see that we have a new or different roughness to the rest of the material. So that's pretty cool, but we can bring this even further. So we will change our shader here and create a emission shader. Then we will add an edge shader. Of course we can use the emission here, but I would like to have the strength here. So okay, now we have this emission shader applied here. Currently it does nothing, so let's create a new paint channel. Let's press the plus icon, call it emission, And you see that all the channels that are already in use are grayed out, so we cannot use them. And now you see that this pop-up here shows all my shaders. So this is the principal shader here, and here at the bottom we have the emission shader. In this case, we want to feed this channel into the color channel of the emission. So press OK. You see everything is connected. And we can change the color here to black. Or we can do it here. So this is up to you where you want to do it. Okay, now we will add a new texture or a new layer. Let's create it. So this is the size here, and we will call it glow. And we will apply a mask. So we will take our rock texture here, okay, and control click here and bring this closer together here. And now let's just try something. Oh, sorry. We want to paint. So this is something you need to be aware of. If you select the mask, it will paint in the mask. So if you want to paint on the layer, or you have to select the layer here. This is indicated by this small little red bar here. So you can barely see it. Let's crank up the mask here. So into this direction. Now let's increase the strength of our texture. And now the cool thing is we can paint here and have this glow effect directly. So, and it directly takes the rock texture here that we have. Oh, we will set it to box map. And here we can change the size and the rotation to our likings. And yeah, just draw. Sorry. Just draw on our layer here and apply the paint texture, the glow texture. So yeah, let's say we are ready with our character and we want to export the textures. So the map generator is not only useful to create textures internally, you can also export textures. So let's say you want to export this diffuse texture. Let's create a new export, call it diffuse. Okay. This texture is an external texture and we would like to bake the diffuse channel. So we select it from here. You see that we have all channels listed here. We set the size, we set the target object. We can set a final target UV. So if you have multiple UVs, you can change the UV you want to bake it in. So we set the UV map. Second, set an export path. So let's create a new folder here. Call it maps. Accept. And then just start baking. So this takes a little while and hopefully it won't crash. I haven't tested it for a longer time. So okay, the texture is baked. Now let's have a look here. We have this maps here and you can see that we have our texture baked. Now we can of course also bake other textures. So it took so long because we had the AO map here. It was also baked. So let's create a new and call it roughness and AO. And now I would like to show you a really cool feature. So we will set up the roughness AO, and this will be an RGB texture. So we can set to the R channel, we can set our roughness, and to the G channel, we can set, for example, the ambient occlusion, and to the B channel, we can set the curvature, for example. Now let's decrease the sample size for this purpose. Select our object, set it to an external texture, select the target UV, and then just press generate all maps. So this should take not so long, I hope. Okay, we are done. So we have our diffuse channel here, and we have our roughness and AO. So the cool thing now is we have we have various black and white channels put into the R, G, and B channel in this case. So our roughness is in the R channel, our AO texture is in the B channel, and the curvature is in the RGB and the B channel. So and if you're in any program, you can just separate the channels and feed them in. So that way you can save space. Okay, so I think that's it for this overview. If you like to test BPainter, just head over to the Blendermarket. I have released BPainter 2.0 RC3, so the third release candidate. And if you would like to purchase it, I would be happy. So yeah, thanks for watching. And if you like, subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.